Hey everyone, and welcome to the Defining Your Life podcast, where we focus on living in our purpose, practicing presence, and activating our power in each moment. I'm Marsharelle, your resident pep talk provider, and I invite you to join me as we continue to learn, lift each other up, and strive to level up together. Because we are never finished defining our lives, and it takes a village, so let's build one. Stay tuned for the episode. Hey everyone, I hope that all is well and that this past week has been a 10 out of 10 for you. And if it wasn't a 10, then I encourage you to focus on at least one thing this week that was good. Granted, you may need to dig out your gratitude journals to zero in on something, but it's super important to find at least one good thing that you can focus on. And I know that you can. Focus on the positive, everyone. I know it can get hard out here sometimes, but there's always something that we can look toward. So today I'm joined by our rapid fire feature guest, Rochelle Shearlds, who is VP of Account Management at an international medtech company. Now, we've had a few entrepreneurs on as guests in the past, so it feels good to be able to switch things up a bit. And I'm really excited to have Rochelle here with us today to talk a little bit about shaping your own path in the worlds of corporate and the ever-changing landscape of tech. So welcome, Shelly.
Thank you, Marsharelle. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Excited to be here.
All right, well, let's dive right in.
All right.
Describe yourself in 30 seconds or less.
So at my core, I am driven and I have a strong desire to make an impact. I am currently in a chapter of discovery that has been focused on relearning the character of God and shedding the childhood misunderstandings and also prioritizing pampering because I am choosing to retire the strong Black woman that lives in me. She has served me amazingly well, but she can rest for the second half of my life.
Yes, rest. You can be a powerhouse and still rest.
Yeah.
Gym number 1, everyone. So talking about being strong and driven, right? What did the younger version of you imagine she'd be doing career-wise at this point in her life? And how has it differed from what has actually transpired?
Yeah, so the first career I remember wanting, it was a lawyer. In my, like, as early as I can remember, I wanted to be a lawyer. I don't really remember why I had that desire. Some would say I enjoy a good debate. And I'm a professional receipt keeper. So perhaps I missed my calling. But yeah, that's the earliest memory that I have in terms of like dreaming about what I want it to be in childhood. And obviously, like, currently a tech sales leader. Not at all where I thought I would be, but I feel very blessed and fulfilled in my current role.
Awesome. Well, speaking of that and, life taking you in different directions, right? Your career hasn't really been a straight path, like a lot of people. But when did you realize the power of the pivot, and how did that sort of aha moment inform decisions around your career choices moving forward?
Yeah, so my pivots have been rooted in exposure and a willingness to stay open to new possibilities. I am blessed to have known really great women who have mentioned me in the right rooms. And the aha moment, I would say, that informed my career decisions was my initial realization that I didn't need to follow a straight path. So when I graduated college, I was a customer service supervisor at the time, but I studied accounting in college, and I thought I needed to find an accounting job. And so I landed an accounting job and was super excited until I actually started doing the work. and quickly realized that I did not want to crunch numbers all day. The transactional component of that role was not at all fulfilling. And so I decided to return to the company that I left before I graduated college. They offered me a leadership role and I loved it. I think that
Mm.
decision was the start of me knowing that it's okay to change your mind when it comes to what you do.
Yes, I feel like a lot of us are afraid to free ourselves from whatever box we put ourselves
Mhm.
in the first
Yeah.
place. So that's really important. Uh, so, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in your career so far?
Yes. So I would say that reciprocal networking is
Mm-hmm.
invaluable. So earlier in my career, I worked really hard to create a reputation of being someone who is dependable, hardworking, someone that, others can trust that I would get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I would say 90% of the roles I've had since then resulted in um, was a result of a referral, of me being referred to the role. So as the saying goes, I would say that the biggest lesson is it's not who you know, but who knows you and who's
Mm.
willing to mention you when it matters.
The some really awesome connections could lie within relationships that you didn't ever really even consider
Mhm.
cultivating. But
Yeah.
even just by showing up, um,
Yes.
as and being the best that you can be, things can blossom.
Yeah. And also like showing up with the mindset of like helping someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everyone has needs, but trying to build your network through extending favors to other people
Yeah.
because it will usually pay off for you in the end, eventually, like
Yeah.
when it matters.
So, how have you been able to balance all of your personal responsibilities? I know you're a mother, a wife, you're active outside in other organizations outside of your company. So, how have you been able to sort of balance all of those responsibilities and your goals with a demanding corporate position?
So I don't think I balance. I don't balance. I'm horrible at balancing. So I would say I integrate everything in one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I need to focus on personal things from 9 to 5, I'll block my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
At this stage in my career, I don't need to ask permission, but I am mindful. So I avoid scheduling uh, personal obligations during my like heavy work days.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday afternoons and Friday mornings are usually dedicated to doctor's appointments, conversations with mentees, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also try to remove distractions that waste my time.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving social media was
Mm.
the best decision I made in 2023. So much time wasted.
It's
And
the
I just
time that
had
you don't realize you're wasting is really what it
yeah.
boils down to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you like at the end of the day, you're just like, I have this list of stuff that are impactful, but I just didn't have time to get to it. I really wanted to reach out to that person in need, or I really wanted to do this thing for myself, and I just didn't have time. And you look back and you're like, you look at your screen time,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh snap, I was on social media for an hour today. So yeah,
Yeah.
removing distractions. And I get easy I have a pretty short attention span.
Mhm.
So it was really important for me to remove distractions. Maybe, in next year I will be able to, or later this year I'll be able to revisit social media,
Mhm.
but I am choosing to focus my attention on my impact, and social media doesn't have a place.
Listen, and that screen time is a source of truth, okay? If you need like I don't spend that much time on there, check your screen time. I assure you it will say differently.
Exactly.
So creating space, right? And opportunity for other women to thrive,
Mhm.
particularly in the field of tech, seems to be something that is very important to you. Why so?
The short answer is I'm a giver.
Mm-hmm.
And I am always trying to make 5-year-old Shelly proud.
Mm.
The long answer is I find joy in helping people earn money to improve their quality of life. I was always the friend who would help everyone get a job.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment in time where most of my friends worked at this regional furniture company because I referred them. So tech is unique because it can be life changing.
Mm-hmm.
It was life changing for me. And so I just want to make sure that I try to at least expose women, Black women specifically, to another option. Because when it comes to building wealth in our community, I only ever heard real estate or entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine, but that's not everyone's path.
Yeah.
Um, so when I landed a role in tech, I got exposure to six-figure salaries, benefits,
Mm-hmm.
equity,
Mm-hmm.
and flexible work arrangements. But the problem was I was usually the only Black
Mm-hmm.
woman on
Yeah.
my team, sometimes even in the organization that I was with. And so I have tried to make it a priority to change that
Yeah.
in the small way that I can. So it's the main reason why I joined the leadership team of an organization called Success in Black, where we focus on helping Black professionals secure and grow in tech roles.
Mm-hmm.
There is money to be made, y'all.
Yes. Yes. And we need to be making
But that's all I'm saying.
it. All right. Well, with that being said, what are some key tips that you can share for those who desire to level up in their current corporate careers but don't know what steps to take?
Yeah. So I would suggest a mentor, a coach, or a sponsor, depending on your career level. So if you are just starting out in your career, I would suggest a mentor because you can benefit from having someone who is experienced, who offers guidance, advice, and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that relationship is more holistic and it's typically focused on like overall career and personal development. If you're mid-level, at this point you have some experience, you have had some lessons,
Yeah.
and so you should consider prioritizing a coach because that relationship is more structured and focused on improving specific skills, challenges, and goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're more senior, you've done the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need someone in a position of influence who actively advocates for your career advancement. They don't
Mm-hmm.
typically offer guidance in
Yeah.
this space, but instead they take a more proactive role in opening doors and promoting you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
those would be the tips.
Well, thank you so much, Shelley, for joining us today. I appreciate you sharing your perspective and reminding us that being open to the pivot can take us to new heights we may not yet have the capacity to imagine. But pivoting can absolutely impact our lives in the best way if we explore the opportunities that can lead us down a different path. I'll leave you all with a quote from Serena Williams today. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. Thanks so much for listening today. If what you have been hearing has been beneficial, don't forget to share, rate, and review the pod, as I always say. And I can't wait to chat with you all again next week. Take care until then.